Gina, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
You're here billed as the campaigning asset manager. What does that title mean to you, and what are the causes you care most
I think
about?
it's a very apt title. I have been campaigning in the industry now for 9-10 years. Really on the areas that I see that need more transparency and will lead to better outcomes for clients, because at the moment clients don't see all the fees and charges they're charged. I mean, legislation has come in that will change that. The problem is it's not being enforced, but also they don't have transparency of holding, so they can't see exactly what they're buying. I mean, these are basic consumer rights: to know what you're buying, to know what you're paying, and to not be cheated, to be, as the FCA said, treated fairly. Treating customers fairly is not being delivered in the industry, and lots of practices should be ended so that they can get on with actually delivering better outcomes for clients. So that's what I've been campaigning for.
There is regulation in place, but you think it's not being enforced enough at the moment. But do you think that will shift over the next, say, 2 years?
I'm not confident, because the FCA seems to be making very sort of half-hearted noises about really ensuring that regulation is followed. I mean, this regulation, MiFID II, industry has had 4 years to prepare for it. So the idea that they can't comply, I mean, if something comes into law and you're not complying with it, it is illegal. And so for the regulators to be condoning illegal behaviour, to my mind, is letting down not just the industry, but is letting down consumers as well.
How crucial is transparency, and why?
Without transparency, you cannot shine a light on the dubious behaviours in the industry. The fact that we've had hidden costs for over 20 years from the first SA report, which highlighted hidden fees as a problem. The fact that people don't know what they're buying. They have every right. It's their money. They should know what they're buying and what they're paying. Can you imagine in any other industry, if you went in and bought, say, a shirt in a shop, and then with a credit card, and then you got your statement a month later, which saying you thought you paid £100, but they've taken out £300 from your account, you would be furious, and it wouldn't be allowed in any other industry. Yet in this one, which is about money and saving for a rainy day and ensuring that our population are not a burden on the state, we don't have that.
And it is so vital, as you said there, because this is providing for people's long-term futures.
I mean, one of the things I get accused of is trying to bring the industry down. A, that would be extraordinary for one woman to be able to do that. But secondly, I absolutely believe in this industry. It is, from a societal point of view, it is absolutely vital. No politician, no party can actually fund the ageing of the population that we have. So we need to encourage people to save and invest and put away money. But they've got to be able to trust the industry, because there's also a massive trust deficit. They've got to trust us that we're doing what's best for them and what's best for their money to grow. And that's what we need to do.
And indeed, those savers, and particularly young people, do expect that sort of transparency in every other area of their life. And if they are to be engaged, as you said, that needs to be the case in this industry too.
I mean, if we were transparent tomorrow and brought in and said, look, we got it wrong in the past, this is what we're going to do in the future, this is how we're going to use technology to enable transparency, these are the things we're going to stop, we could build that trust back up so quickly, and people, I believe, would actually save and invest, because we've got to encourage them to do that. I mean, there's a particular problem with women in this country. We have a very low saving rate for women. That's one of the things I'm very passionate about, and every time I do surveys with women, don't trust the industry. So it's not actually about fees or costs or any of those things. They just don't trust us. And we get tarred. Financial services, investments, we are part of financial services, and we still have that legacy of the financial crash. So people think we're all the same, and we have to prove that we're not all the same.
Reputation has been tarnished, as you say. The crash 10 years ago has taken a long time to recover from, both financially but reputationally for this industry too. So there is even more of a reason to engage with the new customers who, that's how they grew up, that's how they viewed the system when they were growing up through it.
We have to go that extra mile. We have to put our hands up, accept that things were not all well and good, and that this is what we're going to do to put our house in order. But the industry is not doing that. We're sort of shying away from it. And there are lots of people, I believe, who are just sort of waiting to, tread water till their gold clock comes or their retirement, and they can leave it for somebody else's problem. Because the problem that they know they're looking in the headlights at is that people realize that they have been missold or mistold on pricing, or indeed on product that they bought. We could be looking at some very serious damages to the industry. But so rather than sorting them out, they're just putting their head in the sand and hoping they're going to go away. Well, actually, they're not going to go away. They just compound and get, the whole magic of compounding on fees, actually compounding of the issues that we're facing as an industry is also happening.
You are passionate about your campaigning, and it would be remiss of me not to ask you about Brexit. It's been a very interesting couple of years for you. Tell me about that and what drove you there.
It's the same principles that I fight for everything that I'm campaigning in every sector that I'm involved in, which is we need to have truth and honesty and integrity and process. We need to know what's happening. And we were not getting that with the Brexit process, and we definitely were not getting that with the way the government were going to trigger Article 50. And you can't fight for sovereignty and then choose to bypass it. The whole idea was it had to go to an act of parliament, and yet nobody seemed to be questioning that. So what I thought I was doing was a very obvious, legitimate case, but it did bring out a lot of hatred. I think part of it is because I'm a woman, I agree with, and part of it is because I'm an ethnic minority. So the combination, I became this sort of avatar of hate, and it has changed every part of my life. I'm looked after by terrorism squad, my entire life has changed. But I will not let bullies win.
So you don't have any regrets despite that?
Absolutely not, because it's actually shown me why I need to stand up and speak out even more, because that is not a country, this is not the country I want to live in, where people think it's okay to violate others. That no one of us should want to live in a country like that.
So you're at a conference here with 1,000 of the professionals that you're hoping to appeal to. What message do you hope they take away from hearing you speak today?
I think about using their voice and seeing that when you see something that's wrong, you have to speak up and not just put yourself first. Your conflicts of interest, you need to put your conflicts in your bottom drawer and get on with doing what's right, because in the long term, it benefits everyone. So don't be frightened to go against the establishment. Don't be frightened to ask questions and almost be a wrecking ball for the establishment, because what you evolve out of that is very, very positive and actually creates more solutions and problems.
Gina, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us today.
You're welcome.